Bubba Wallace, a playoff threat? Insights from Jarrett. Hall of Fame driver Bubba Wallace has been a hot topic in the NASCAR Cup Series for the last 3 races, and a former champion and inductee in the Hall of Fame believes the Cup Series should take notice. Wallace finished 6th in Sunday's Iowa Corn 350 at Iowa Speedway, showcasing a thrilling comeback in the final laps. He also secured a playoff berth on July 27th by winning the Brickyard 400, cementing his status as a rising force. When asked on the USA Network post-race show if Wallace is a threat in the 2025 Cup Series playoffs, 1999 Winston Cup champion Jarrett expressed confidence in the 31-year-old driver. "I don't think there's any doubt," Jarrett said during the telecast. "We're seeing a marked improvement over this team doing their job, giving Bubba cars he can drive, and the driver doing his job. Last week, they gave him a great car, but the driver did his job last week. Today, the team did a remarkable job of repairing that race car, giving Bubba another chance and coming back." Wallace is now 10th in the Cup Series standings, with 9 top 10 finishes, including a win, compared to Tyler Reddick's 8 in the 23 races completed so far. The controversy lies in whether Wallace's explosive performance in the Iowa Corn 350 signals a new era for the Cup Series, or if it's just a temporary surge. And this is the part most people miss. While Wallace's dominance in the last 3 races is undeniable, critics argue that the team's ability to adapt and support him, especially after a recent crash, may be what truly sets him apart. But here's where it gets controversial. Some believe Wallace's success is a result of luck, while others see it as a sign of a new era in NASCAR. Should we expect more from drivers like Wallace? Or is this just a fleeting moment in the grand scheme of the Cup Series? The debate continues as the playoffs approach, leaving fans eager to see if the 2025 season will live up to the hype. Bubba Wallace's incredible comeback at Iowa, the untold story. In the world of NASCAR, where every twist and turn can change the game in an instant, Bubba Wallace is proving he's not just here to participate. He's here to dominate. But here's the kicker. Even when he puts on a show that leaves his rivals shaking in their boots, TV viewers might miss the entire spectacle. And this is the part most people miss. How much effort goes into making these moments happen, only for them to slip through the cracks of broadcast coverage. Take Iowa. For instance, what could have been another ordinary race turned into a masterclass of resilience and skill for Wallace. Coming off his recent Brickyard 400 victory, a win that surprisingly wasn't celebrated by NASCAR legend Richard Petty, it seemed like Wallace had already secured his playoff spot. Yet, instead of resting on his laurels, he used the Iowa race as a testing ground to remind everyone why he's becoming a force to be reckoned with. But let's rewind a bit. The drama began long before Wallace started climbing up the ranks during the final restart. Picture this. 12 caution flags waving throughout the race, turning it into a chaotic roller coaster. Amidst all the chaos, Wallace found himself 2 laps down at one point due to strategic missteps. An early call to split stage 2 backfired after Shane Van Gisbergen spun out, sending ripples through the field. For a moment, it looked like his day might spiral out of control. However, if there's one thing we've learned about Bubba Wallace, it's that he thrives under pressure. On lap 287 of the 350-lap race, he restarted in 32nd place. By the time the checkered flag waved, he'd clawed his way up an astonishing 26 positions to finish 6th. That's no small feat, especially considering how competitive NASCAR fields are. His number 23 Toyota Camry roared with speed, showcasing both precision driving and top-tier racecraft. Unfortunately, those watching the race on NBC's USA Network didn't get to witness this incredible surge firsthand. Broadcast cameras were understandably focused on the front runners, including William Byron, who executed a nail-biting fuel-saving strategy to edge out Chase Briscoe for the win. Meanwhile, Ryan Blaney mounted a late charge, and Brad Keselowski tried desperately to close the gap and secure his own playoff berth. It was high-stakes racing at its finest, but Wallace's heroics went largely unnoticed. Afterward, NBC caught up with Wallace, giving him a chance to reflect on what had been a truly wild ride. "We had an up-and-down day," he admitted candidly. "Mid-race, I was ready to throw in the towel and figure out what needed fixing. We had our fair share of damage and issues, but somehow we fought back hard enough to get our Camry into the top 10. Wallace continued, sharing how surreal it felt to end the day in 6th place after struggling for so long. "If you told me mid-race that I'd finish P6, I'd have laughed in your face," he joked. "But the car came alive at the end, and that gives us some real positives to build on moving forward. What makes this performance even more impressive is the broader context. Earlier in the weekend, Wallace openly acknowledged the need to expose weaknesses within his team. I said, we've got to put ourselves to the test, he explained, and today, I think we did exactly that. Sure, there's room for improvement, but overall, it was a hell of a team effort. Now, here's where things get controversial. While Wallace continues to silence critics with performances like this, some fans still question whether he's getting the recognition he deserves. Is it fair that such a gutsy comeback was overshadowed by the focus on frontrunners? Or does the nature of televised sports inherently favor certain narratives over others? These are questions worth pondering and debating. So what do you think? Should networks like NBC prioritize showing more of these underdog stories? Or is focusing on the leaders simply part of the formula? Let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Bubba Wallace's journey to victory, NASCAR Cup Series at Iowa Speedway. Racing isn't just about speed. It's a test of character, resilience, and sometimes the weight of history. This past weekend, Bubba Wallace, driver of the number 23 all-true Toyota Camry XSE for 23XI Racing, sat down with reporters ahead of practice at Iowa Speedway. If you think a win solves everything, here's where it gets interesting. Wallace's victory at Indianapolis brought both celebration and a whirlwind of emotions. Asked how the week unfolded, Bubba confessed, "I didn't go all out after the win. I'm older now, and hangovers just aren't worth it. Especially with a child at home who doesn't care if I'm tired." Instead, the celebration was more about savoring the moment with his team. Inviting everyone over, they marked their first Brickyard 400 win together, a crown jewel that finally, after years of chasing it, was theirs. The celebration even continued at the shop on Tuesday, right in the midst of their daily grind. Yet amidst the joy, the grind of racing never really stops. Wake up, new day, new race. That's just the rhythm of this sport. Many noticed how physically spent Bubba looked after the red-hot race in Indianapolis. He jokes that the adrenaline crash hit him fast, making post-race interviews even more exhausting. "It was just so hot," he laughed, adding that emotional highs and lows in those final laps took their toll as well. But now, with a playoff spot secured, does that change how he approaches the next few races? Honestly, these next 4 weeks, I could care less about the outcome. Bubba grinned, explaining that this position allows for experimentation. "Every point matters, as Denny Hamlin always reminds me. But we've locked in. Now we can test the waters and try some weird strategies." It's a rare form of freedom that racers seldom get, allowing Bubba to explore new setups without stress. And this is the part most people miss. With points less of a worry, race strategy transforms. Bubba joked with his team about making a wild pit stop right at the start, just to see what would happen. "The playbook is wide open now," he declared, hinting they might take riskier calls to learn as much as possible before the playoffs. The conversation turned to diversity in motorsports, sparking a discussion sure to draw differing opinions. Miles Rowe became the first black driver to win at Indy NXT at Iowa Speedway. Bubba himself is now a crown jewel winner, while LeVar Scott finished 5th in ARCA. "It's fantastic to see," Bubba said. He reflected that while headlines often label him as the black driver, He personally identifies as a racer first. Everybody wants to put you in a box. I never lead with that part of my identity, but I'm proud of every side of who I am. This nuanced reality is still misunderstood, and it stirs controversy. When I tweeted that you won't stop hearing about the black driver, people twisted it, but I'm proud of all aspects of who I am. Why not embrace it? When asked what memory stood out most from his Indy win, Bubba immediately mentioned family. That overhead shot of the three of us kissing the bricks. That's what means the most. He described the emotional moment when his wife said, "We did it," acknowledging the personal struggles and behind-the-scenes doubts she's seen him go through. Looking ahead, Bubba wants to leverage the coming month to identify and address areas for improvement within the team. A month is short, but with the right people, anything's possible. The driver still has the most to gain, executing perfect races, finding every bit of speed. He recalled moments during the Indy race when he raced fearlessly, blocking rivals and seizing every opportunity. But what about upcoming races, where the pressure might be off but the stakes are higher than ever? Finishing 5th or 8th is okay, but not enough if the guys you're battling place higher. You have to win. Bubba pointed out how quickly fortunes can change in NASCAR, jumping from just a handful of points behind his teammate to over 160 in a month. He's particularly excited about Richmond, where he feels the team has momentum. Daytona remains a wild card. You never know what can happen there. So how did he finally break through and score that win? Bubba credits advice from Daniel Hemrick. It's not that serious. You have a bad weekend? Shake it off and come back ready. He emphasized that racing, like life, is about persistence. You might wake up a loser, but be a winner by nightfall. Friendship, too, plays an underrated role. Bubba explained how strong his bond with Ryan Blaney remains, dating back to their childhoods on the track. In a sport that can breed rivalry and isolation, their friendship has endured, both as shoulders to lean on and as motivational fuel. I remember kicking his butt as kids. If I could do it then, why not now? Does outside validation matter? People can talk all they want. I got the win. Some might say I was lucky, but I made the move. I wanted to finish under green, not rain delay, because everyone loves to move the goalposts for me. I ignore the noise and focus on my work. And yes, he did get to share the victory with Michael Jordan. He's loving it as much as we are. He and Denny always believed in me. Sometimes more than I did. That pushes me to give my all. Notably, support poured in from outside NASCAR too, including IndyCar stars Simon Pagenaud, Will Power, and Scott Dixon. Bubba also shared his appreciation for his crew chief, Charles Dennick. After a successful run in trucks, Charles has adapted swiftly to the Cup Series, winning in his first season. He's incredibly smart, analytical, and makes us all look at things differently. There's nothing like that first win, and for a big chunk of the team, this was their first. That's special. So let's open the floor. Do you think identity should matter in racing, or should talent alone do the talking? Is it fair that drivers like Bubba face so much extra scrutiny because of who they are, not just how they race? Weigh in below. Let's talk about the story behind the headlines. Because there's always more than meets the eye.